It's another episode of Explicit Materia, the podcast where a nerdy drummer talks to his friends. Yeah, I'm gonna try out for American Idol since it's back. I don't even know who are the hosts for American Idol. I have no idea anymore. Remember that show? That show used to be so freaking... That show used to be the show. I digress. I'm sorry. It's Explicit Materia. Yes, the podcast where a nerdy drummer talks to his friends. Follow me on Twitter at the WiseDrums, Instagram at WiseDrums, Facebook at WiseDrums, or follow the Explicit Materia Facebook page. And of course, subscribe to youtube.com/WiseDrums, where I post clips of this podcast, let's plays, video game reviews, drum covers, all that sort of stuff. Everything artistically I do, I put on that YouTube channel. So there you go, youtube.com/WiseDrums. Subscribe and hit that little bell so you can get notifications of when I post another video. Disclaimer: if you're easily offended by any controversial / satirical or seemingly offensive material, please move on. This podcast is not for you. Any disagreements you might have with me or the guests, or any of the points that have been presented on this podcast, I'd love to hear what you have to say via Twitter or the YouTube comment section. This episode, here's what you'll be experiencing. Kyle Lampi returns this episode, and we get kind of deep. We talk about fault and responsibility, and we get into our love for music being challenged by the reality of the times we live in now. It's not as easy as it used to be, and ultimately not as fun. So, you spend your whole life driving for one thing, and sometimes there comes a point where you realize it may be becoming more of a job than you would want it to be. So what do you do? Do you just quit? Do you focus on something else? Do you refocus your efforts to feel that emotional validation you once felt when you started following your dreams? Well, we talk about that in this episode, and we also talk about Kyle hitting somebody with his car. So here we go. I mean, just watch Braveheart, bro.
Oh my god, I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Do you remember when we went... Do you remember when, what was her name, Laura? She was actually from Scotland. Mm-hmm. We used to tour with this young lady named Laura, what was her last name? McGee.
Couldn't be more Scottish.
Laura McGee, she was a violin player. Okay. And then we're having a discussion in the van, and we were talking about Braveheart, and she goes, I can't do the Scottish accent. I probably shouldn't. She goes, I never watched Braveheart. And we all looked at her like, what?
I've never watched Braveheart.
I've never watched it.
What?
And so we watched Braveheart to get her thoughts after the movie was done. And she said, that was the most terrible movie.
Yeah, well.
And so she said it was so inaccurate because what they failed to tell you in that wonderful movie Braveheart was the British still owns Scotland.
Yeah, they still. It's not... Yeah. They don't have freedom. There's no freedom there. They can never take our freedom except forever. Hey, does that book say How to Master the Mafia? Oh, media. What does that say?
Oh, How to Master the Media. Yeah, when Five Knives was in its heyday, we had a media training course with this gentleman.
I thought that said the mafia. I was like, Shane, what are you doing?
No, it was the media, how to master the media. And we did like some faux interviews and stuff, and I did terrible, obviously.
Naturally. Drummers aren't supposed to speak.
No, I didn't want to speak. I was there for comedic effect.
Yeah, and to look good. I like your mug.
Which is an awful idea, too, because I'm not that funny. My life is better with a Dachshund mug. I would do my Explicit Materia mug, but I like a lot of liquid in my tea, so I like the bigger. This is like a 16 ounce.
That's not even
mug.
Tea anymore. That's
just water.
It's like leaf touched essenced water.
But that's what I'm doing lately. I really like hot water, even if I'm because I have 2 cups of coffee a day and some decaf tea. That's my 3 hot drinks, and if I want some more, I'll make some hot water, just some straight hot water. I like the heat on my throat.
You are 100 years old. hot water year round. That's such an old lady thing to do. We're so old.
We're not old. We're still young, bro. You know, we're young enough to be not old, but we're
not young.
Old enough to not give a shit.
Yeah. Like, it's so funny to me when people go, like, at the gym and stuff, when I'm like, man, my knees are cracking because I'm old, and they look at me, and they're, like, in their 40s or 50s, and they like, you're so young. But I'm like, I'm not young. I'm not young, though. I'm like a middle-aged man.
It is kind of crazy how we're like, we just, the less, I'm starting to realize how much less I care about things I used to care about a lot back when I was young.
Yeah, I'm trying to find anything to care about. I don't know if there's a single thing I care about anymore. I really don't. I feel bad because I don't hang out with anyone anymore. I don't see anybody, but I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, yeah, well, they're living their life. They're living their... Well, except for, like, my core group of friends. Like, obviously you, Aaron, and Jordan, and Jim will always care about. But, like, everyone else, I'm just like, I don't know what you're doing. I took Facebook off my phone.
Did you really?
Yeah. So
how liberating was that moment?
It's so great. You know what's not great, though? Is you don't realize how much of an asshole you are when it comes to people's birthdays. I don't know anyone's birthday. Facebook was really good at reminding me of people's birthdays, so I could pretend like I knew, like, it's so dude, it's your birthday.
Maybe there's just an app that takes the Facebook birthdays and just really gives you notifications of people's birthdays, and that's it.
Or it could be like the olden days where you just remembered things because you cared. You like... so yeah, I have no Facebook on my phone. Which
Did you do that because of the whole Facebook privacy thing that's been going down?
No, I didn't follow that. Like, again, I don't care, so I don't follow anything.
There you go.
I literally have no idea what's going on in the news. It's so bad. Apparently Venezuela's having this big, like, thing.
Oh, dude, that's been going on for like...
That's what I'm talking about. I have no idea. I just heard about it on a podcast while driving down here.
Dude, Venezuela's like going through some major shit right now.
Yeah. Like 3 million people are like refugees now.
And from what I heard like, because I didn't pay attention either until it really went downhill, and everyone was like 5 or 8 years ago, Venezuela was like supposed to be the next like utopia of sorts, and 7 years later, here we are. Like, people are rioting the streets, people are starving to death, like some pretty horrible shit's going down.
Sad.
Just be glad that you live here.
I am glad. I'm glad that I can live here, and my biggest problem is deleting my Facebook app from my phone. No, I deleted it because non-stop trying to get me to look at my phone. A new notification would pop up every like 5 seconds, and I would unfollow people, or I'd unfollow like those groups, but they'd still find something to pop up towards me. And the creepiest thing was it 100% listens to your conversations. It has to, because it suggests things that I did not Google or look up, but I only talked about. Jessica and I were talking about where we wanted to go on vacation before we even looked at like prices or anything. Vacation packages popping up for like the places we wanted to go and the hotels to stay at and Airbnbs and things. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm so done with this. This is so weird.
But here's the crazy thing. It's not just Facebook that's doing that. It's everything.
Instagram
it's every single advertising agency. They do that. I mean, I heard like Roomba like there was a big controversy about Roomba. They started mapping rooms. I think we talked about it when you and Jess were here.
I don't know, man. But it actually feels really good to be disconnected and not... No, it's kind of it's a catch-22. I don't know what's happening, so I don't know about any like cool shows anymore, or like what my friends are doing if they post cool things, and I can't say congratulations. But at the same time, my mental space is so freed. I have so much time to think. When was the last time you just had thoughts? When was the last time you just sat there and went...
I guess I have thoughts in the shower.
Yeah.
And I have thoughts in my car when I'm not listening to podcasts. See, I try not to waste time on social media. The only time that I'm truly using social media is to promote whatever I got going on. I got a lot of shit going on. I know. You know, the podcast, I got drum covers, I got all this other shit.
It's a necessary evil.
You know, it's a necessary evil. I got to post every morning.
I hate that.
Got to make it a schedule of sorts, and that keeps me kind of busy. But I realize by doing that, I'm like looking at my phone, looking at Facebook, just randomly, and I hate that about myself.
And like 20 minutes goes by, and you're like, "Oh yeah, what was this? What was I doing? Oh, I'm supposed to be emptying the dishwasher."
I'm trying to catch myself. See, what I have been doing, I've been doing a pretty good job of doing this. Is I've been focusing on like YouTube lectures from like really smart fucking people, and that way I'm not wasting my time on the internet. And I got this wireless little Bluetooth headphone thing.
Is that what that is?
That's what that thing is. Yeah, and it's $28 on Amazon, and it works amazingly. It sounds great. It works amazing. It works for 2 hours each ear, so I can have like 4 hours if I interchange them.
Gaming the system.
Yeah, I'm gaming that system, and I've just been learning shit. Like yesterday, I watched a biography on Martin Luther King because I wanted to. I wanted to learn because I remember. I don't know why I just started thinking about projects I did in school, and I was like, man, I remember those book reports and stuff and how much I hated them. But the two that I remember were Abraham Lincoln, and I think that was in like the 3rd grade, and then Martin Luther King, which was like in the 4th grade or 5th grade. And so I just watched listened to an hour's worth of this biography of Martin Luther King. I was like, man, it's good to just remind yourself of history.
Yeah. Important people.
Speaking
of important people, some people might disagree with this, but do you know today is the 24th anniversary of Kurt Cobain's death?
Today is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We were in 4th grade. I remember that.
Where were you when you heard that song for the first time?
Which one?
Smells Like Teen Spirit? Yeah, of course. What other song?
I remember I was never allowed to watch MTV because my parents were scared that I was gonna, I don't know what the hell they thought I was gonna do, run away from home. But which I never did. So joke's on you, Mom and Dad. I just saw the video on MTV and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. When they were in like the dirty gymnasium.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, that was so cool.
I still can't understand a word he's saying in that song.
Nobody does.
With the lights out.
I don't care though.
But it doesn't matter what he's saying because through his inflection and through his tone, it's rebellious. And I was like, yeah, rebellion.
Can't tell me what to do, Mom and Dad.
I was actually thinking about this too. I remember this specifically, and I wonder if whenever you or I have kids, I wonder if this will be permissible in school because of the stuff that's going on about mass shooters and stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember we used to make every year. I think this was in 3rd grade. Every year we would have a little name plate we put on our desk.
Yes.
Okay, and then we could decorate it however we wanted.
Yeah.
And what I did, because I was really into comic books and I was really into like violent video games and blood and stuff, I drew Shane, like Shane, and I drew a ninja decapitating a man and blood everywhere.
Teachers were like, okay.
And so my 3rd grade teacher, Mr. Clisby, no, 3rd grade, yes, 4th grade was Mr. Clisby.
I remember Mr. Clisby. Mr.
Clisby talked to my mother about it, but she was like, that's just, he's an artist. That's what he likes to do.
Imaginative child, he's fine.
Yeah, and he's fine. And he's like, I'm worried because he's a really good kid. And I was a really good kid in that class. I was a really good kid in school, period. But I just loved drawing violent things because you too me and you would draw comics.
Yeah, we would. What was it? What was the one we wrote?
Oh fuck, the like, Beavis and Butthead ripoff?
Yeah. Stupid and Stupider?
Stupid and Stupider.
I don't know what their name was. Do you still have those?
Yeah, well, a lot of them were burnt in a fire at home, but I still do have some from like just 7th and 8th grade.
A little fire at home.
No, it was...
Oh, your shed, when your shed burned down.
Yeah,
your stupid-ass neighbor shooting off fireworks.
Yeah.
Got a sweet drum set out of it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that drum set was worth $3,000.
Of course it was. But it burned down, so you had to get a new one that was worth the same amount.
Yeah. And... yeah, so all my toys were burnt in that fire.
Oh, classic. All the X-Men toys.
Yeah.
I still have all mine. And then Ninja Turtles.
Do you have them, like, tucked away safe?
I wonder if those are worth anything yet.
I don't know.
No one cares about toys anymore.
No, dude, it's a market, bro.
Is
like,
it?
brand new 80s Ninja Turtle toys. It's a legit market. And people, there's, like, fake ones on the internet that are being sold, and it's becoming, like, a... it's called, they're scalpers, if you will.
Well, I don't have none of them are in packages.
I don't know, man.
I like to play with my toys when I got them as a child. They used to drive me crazy when my parents would be like, why don't you just keep it in the package? It'll be worth something. I'm like, why would I spend 40 minutes deciding which one toy I want to get from the toy section at Walmart so I could not play with it? I never.
Collector's items,
My
man.
next door neighbors did that. They collected Star Wars toys or whatever.
80s boxed.
Yeah, see how much those are worth.
I'm looking up right now. eBay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 80s
It's probably 90s.
toys.
That was probably the 90s, Shane.
Was it the 90s?
Yeah, we were still pooping our pants in the 80s.
Yeah. I don't know. They're not that much. There's one here. Oh, these are from. Oh, here we go. Oh, vintage used set of 6 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie 10 centimeter action figure TMNT for $13.63.
Holy shit, dude! I'm freaking retiring.
Oh, there's the
play the market. Bitcoin, here I come.
There's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original Nintendo video game, which sucked.
I like that game.
Yeah, but have you played it recently?
Well, no, I don't
It's
have a
fucking-
Nintendo, Shane.
It's the hardest game ever. For those who need to be reminded of how terrible that game is, please go watch The Angry Video Game Nerd. I think it's episode 2 or whatever.
Well,
He
there was
talks about
another
it.
one that was really good, though, right? Mm-hmm. That's the one where you'd hit the bad guys and they would flash orange and yellow when they started to get close to death.
Yes. Well, there's
Which one was that?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 for it was arcade style.
Yeah, that was
It
cool.
was for Nintendo, and then for Super Nintendo, it was Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time.
Dude, that was
sick.
arcade game.
Yeah, that game was sick.
Dude, Konami was the shit back then. Like,
What's
Konami
Konami
made
doing
that.
now?
They made that the Simpsons game.
Konami!
The X-Men game. Remember the fucking
Dude,
X-Men
the
arcade
was
game?
so awesome. The Simpsons game is great.
Yeah. And it's crazy that those games were never ported to home consoles.
Yeah, like Marge had a vacuum.
Yeah, Marge had a
To like hit you with a vacuum. Bart had his skateboard. What did Lisa have?
I think she had a.
Saxophone.
No, it wasn't. I think it was a paddle. Was it a like it was?
Maybe. What did Homer have?
No, he had his fists. I always played
Oh, yeah,
Homer because he
fight,
beat
yeah.
the fuck out of people.
And then Maggie, was she have her blanket or whatever?
No, Maggie.
Oh, you were trying to
Was-
save Maggie,
yeah.
right? They stole her memories, man. Shit.
We'll never have those again.
No.
Arcades. Kids today will never know the glory of going to a fucking arcade.
And waiting in line. Like, remember when Mortal Kombat came out? You would had to wait in line to play, and like whoever was the winner got to stay, and the next person would come up, and then if you lost, you'd have to leave. 50 cents a game. They made
Yeah.
so much money.
Dude, I remember that was.
Shit.
I remember. I don't think I was 10, and a situation like that happened, and this dude was just killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I'm 10. I don't know anything about. Like maybe played Street Fighter twice, and I go up there and I'm playing this guy, and I actually win by just spamming.
Yeah.
Because I'm
course.
10
Yeah,
or
of course
however
you do.
old I was. I'm like, "Eh," and I beat the guy, and he's so pissed. He was a much older dude too. He spent all this time being the best, and he gets his ass beat by a 10-year-old kid just hitting A. I don't know how to defend against this.
Are you sure your dad didn't make love to a video game console?
I don't know.
I feel like, honestly, out of anyone I've ever met in my entire life, like video games you were meant to play video games.
I was. I don't know how. You know what it is? I think I have an obsessive gene, and I think it's passed down from my father and my mother. Because I was thinking about this too. Is like I'm obsessed with video games. I'm obsessed with other things, but video games for sure hold very close to my chest.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Dad's obsessed with Elvis, Mom is obsessed with football.
You grew up with two maniacal fanatics.
So it's a pretty good thing that I'm obsessed with video games and not, I don't know, something more terrible.
Yeah, could be obsessed with shooting heroin in your dick. Yeah.
Dude, you guys gotta try
I'm out
this.
of veins. I gotta go through the dick. That happens.
Yeah. Isn't that...
But
heroin.
the question is, what I want to know is, do you have to tie your dick off, or can you see the vein and you just go for it? Do you have to get a boner
Are you
first?
sure that people do that?
Yeah, when they run out of veins.
Where have you seen this?
Your veins will collapse if you keep using the same one. That's why they like travel. I just like a long. This has to probably be like a last ditch effort. I don't think that's the first vein you're going for.
Yeah, because think about it. I don't think that would be an option because I don't know how often do you. I guess it depends on how often you're shooting heroin. I mean,
honestly,
because it was this vein, that vein, your vein in your neck, your vein in your
between
feet
your toes,
and your legs. There's a whole bunch of other veins you can go without going to the crotch.
Let's just hope you're dead before you get that desperate. Let's hope the heroin has taken its toll.
Yeah, I think at that point you have to reevaluate your life choices.
Yeah. Ugh. Girls are shit out of luck. Can't really see girls' veins anyways. What do they do?
Unless she's a bodybuilder. Unless she's working out.
I don't imagine there's many female bodybuilders that turn to heroin. It's a very, very small percentage. That'd be a great research paper. You want to do a research paper for college?
I don't know. God, college. Ugh. I'm kind of glad I didn't go. Or I didn't finish. I went to 2 years in college.
College, man.
You finished. You're graduated.
Yeah.
You're like a... What's the word I'm looking for?
A college graduate.
An educated man.
An educated person. Honestly, but I don't remember any of it. I really don't. I don't remember. You know what college is? College teaches you how to play the game. It's you learn how to please people in power. You learn how to find a parking spot, and you learn how to you play the game. You literally find out what is going to make your professor happy, what's going to get you to pass the class. That's it. That isn't college. Like our parents' generation, college was everything. To get a job in our parents' generation that you would deem worthwhile, you had to have a college degree. Now, I feel like the only jobs that require a college degree are like medicine, law. Do you need a business degree? No. Do you need a music business degree?
Certainly not now.
No. Do I have one? Yes. Have I ever used it? Yes. Do I know where my diploma is? No. I have no idea.
That's true. Wow. Yeah.
I literally don't remember. I'm kind of embarrassed because I'm in a situation now where I produced some music for this artist who is actually being looked at by a label, and they're starting to talk like splits now and like percentage points. And I don't remember. They're like, so we're thinking like instead of like, how many, what percentage points as a producer is your split usually? And I was like, I'll get back to you. I was like, I don't friggin' remember. I think it's 3. I have no idea.
You got plenty of friends in the business though.
I know.
Like ask them.
But that's embarrassing.
How is that embarrassing?
Because I went to college for it.
It's embarrassing for you.
I know, exactly. Hey, yeah, I know I've been doing this my whole life, but how do I get paid for this?
Yeah, I can't remember that either.
Speaking of which, I'm going through a super crisis right now.
Okay, what's your super crisis?
For the first time in my life, I feel like I am
gay.
Yes. That's it. No, for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm actually burnt out by music. Like, I'm not sure if I want to continue doing music.
Well, that's a big revelation, bro.
Isn't that crazy? Like, I should just rephrase that. All right, so it started out, as you know, the dream was you and I were going to be in a famous band. We tried our hardest, been through so many different bands and moves and shows and ups and downs.
Yeah.
And then it switched from you went to be a drummer for other bands, a touring drummer, because you always wanted to play shows. That's what you love.
Yeah.
Mine switched to, okay, I'll be a touring guitar player because I like playing guitar. And then it switched to, okay, well, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm sick of playing in bands and compromising for things. Now I'm going to be a well-known music producer. I'm going to make tracks for people. Okay, that was cool. And then, all right, well, now I'm kind of like, well, I'm sick and tired of dealing with people's bullshit and artists going, oh my God, I love this. I want to release it. And then when it comes time to release it, you don't hear from them again. And then you don't get paid after you did all this work. Or you do all this work and no one hears it, or you don't do any work and no one still hears
Let
it.
me stop you right there. Are you getting paid up front first, or are you making the track and then giving to these
So it goes like this.
Like, how does your business model work? Because it might be, you might want to reevaluate the actual business financial side of it, so you can actually get some incentive to do more.
Well, this is what I do. So people will write with me because they want a track. So I give them like a demo. Like I don't like go really, it's just literally like a bare bones demo to write the song to.
Okay.
And then if they like the song, they'll go, oh, I really want to release this song. And then I go, okay, cool. It's going to cost this much to actually like redo the track, mix it. We're going to have to record your vocals. If you want me to mix it, it'll be this much. If you want just the track, that's cool. It'll be this much.
Okay.
And then I do half up front for me to even open the session to start on it.
Okay.
And then half upon the delivery of the final product of their approval. The problem is when it comes to money, people disappear. They go, yeah, I want to release this. Cool. It'll be this much. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Pay me half up front and then we'll get started. Radio silence. And then I email them back. Hey, so are we still doing that song? Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to release that one anymore. I got this other one. So it's so annoying to put all of your heart and all of your time and talent into something that doesn't show, because you're putting your time and talent into other people's time and talent. I'm sick. What I should say is I'm sick and tired of giving my time and talent to others. I just want to make music fun again. That's why we started making music. We didn't make music to try to make money. We just wanted to, because we liked playing Metallica songs.
Yeah.
That was it. We just liked the way that felt to like, okay, there's sound coming out of my guitar and Shane's like playing a beat and it's matching together. That sounds cool. Like that's how it started. I honestly, I think after I finish these last couple projects with people, I'm just so done with trying to make, I'm just trying to make other people's dreams come true. And I'm literally just going to make songs for myself that I like.
There you go.
And I'm going to release them. And I don't care if 1 or 1 million people listen to them. I literally don't.
Sounds like that's what you need.
I'm just so over. I'm so burnt out. Like I'm so burnt out to the point where sometimes I know I have this like heap of work to do, but instead of doing the work, I'll re-clean my room. That's how much I don't want to work on it. And that's crazy to me. That's crazy to think that I would rather re-clean my room than work on music. I'm just so burnt.
Well, yeah,
it's crazy.
That's it sounds to me that you just diagnosed yourself.
Yeah,
I think you just need a little break from because also too, like it's such a weird time for music right now, because number one, if you're going into music, odds are you have zero money, like zero.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if that's all you get money from,
and no one's giving you money anymore.
No one's giving you money anymore. You know, it's just. Which is a bad thing for people who are trying to make money, but a good thing for, young bucks who are just getting into music like you and I used to be. And if they're really good at fucking Logic or Pro Tools or Reason, Reason 2, I guess. What's the other one?
There's Cubase. There's so many of them. Pro Tools. Did you say Pro Tools?
You use, what's the other one? You use
Ableton.
Ableton.
Yeah.
I knew it started with an A. I almost said audio something, but it's
Audioton.
Audiotons. But if you're young and you know how to use that shit, which more younger and younger kids are becoming famous DJs because they just pick up a computer and know how to do it.
Because they're born with technology. They get it, yeah.
And those kids are self-sufficient because all they need is maybe a manager and a tour manager, and there you go.
It doesn't cost them anything to make their music?
No. Yeah, they get all their money through either Patreon or... how many downloads they've gotten, it's all through them. There's no, they just create their own website and boom, there.
It's crazy. It really,
which is good for them. Good for the actual artist, and no more fucking, music business bureaucracy bullshit. Mm-hmm.
Like when our parents always warned us too. They're like, the music industry is so hard. The music industry is so hard. It is very hard, but I honestly can say I think the music industry is 10 times harder than it was when we were trying to be a band.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. But even then, it's like, and here's the other thing too. I get you. I kind of got burnt out with it too. I got burnt out with just touring for other people's bands, and I'm totally down to do it. I've decided to be more selective, and I've also decided not to look for it.
Yeah.
Because, if people are going to see my videos and if they like my playing, they'll call me and I'll be okay. And then I will assess to see if the tour is cool or if the people are cool, and then I'll go from there. But I'm not going to go searching for it anymore. I can't. It's just, there's too much. It's too much rejection, and and whatever.
It's hard to handle.
I'm going to focus on me, and that's exactly what I did last year. I was like, hey, I'm starting a podcast. I'm starting a YouTube channel. And it's all for me. That's all of my focus is going to be. If someone wants to text me or call me and say, hey, my drummer's out, let me know. Yeah, then I'll go and maybe go on tour with you. I don't know. We'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see if your offer's good, bro. but focusing on yourself, I think that's very, very important.
I'm not doing anymore. I'm not writing with anyone anymore. I'm just like, sorry. Like, if you're it's either going to be you are hiring me to make a track for you or to record your vocal or something, but I'm not just gonna be like, hey, we should write sometime. And then after the write, be like, oh, I really like this. I would like to release it. And then I'm just not doing it. I'm like, I don't have time anymore. It's like, what's crazy? That's why I like fitness so much. And that's why fitness is such a passion of mine, because it's really the only thing in my life that is proven true. You get what you put into it.
Yeah.
It does not matter how talented you are at playing the guitar or making tracks or mixing or singing. We've put our entire being. It's like, that's the hardest part, is it's my identity. Ever since I can remember, my identity is I do music. And that's all I've ever told people. That's all I ever wanted to do. I was like, no, I do music. I moved out here to do music. I produce. I do this. It's weird to think that for a second that's not your identity anymore, and that's why it's weird to me. It's more of a pride thing.
Yeah. Well, identity is a weird thing, man. Like, identity, it's like we forget that we are so much more than...
Like, who am I without music?
Right. We are so much more than one thing. Mm-hmm. And I think as you get older, that starts to become more apparent. But when you're young, you want to focus. You get just laser focus on one thing. And especially if it's a band, and I think our situation was a lot more complicated than just some, couple guys start a band and they think they're going to make it. No, it's like, number one, we were all talented. We were all very, very talented. Yeah. Number two, we were all super close as far as relationships. Like,
yeah, we didn't go through the normal band bullshit that bands break up for all the time.
Yeah, we said all of us shared the same exact goal, and that was to become successful in that band.
No matter what, yeah.
No matter what. And and not one of us, it was years and years and years later when we moved out here and we tried to make it out here. It was years later until that started to fall apart, and we started to get older, and we started to okay,
taste changed and ideas, what we wanted to do with music changed.
We were fighting all the time.
Because nothing lined up. What really hit me hard is when Nettie stopped doing music. That was like, whoa.
Oh, when you listen to that podcast?
Well, no, he told me that before you guys did that podcast.
That's right.
Like, Aaron and I went out to lunch. He's like, yeah, I quit music. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I sold all my stuff. I quit music. I was like, what? And it hit me again a couple days ago when I started kind of having these thoughts. I was like, this is super weird. One of the owners at my gym is a Grammy award-winning producer and mix engineer. Like, he's done a lot of records.
Yeah.
But he got into CrossFit because he loves it, and he's like part owner of the gym. And unprompted, we were just talking. He was like, yeah, man, I was like, what are you working on? Because I was asking him. He's like, oh, nothing, man, I quit. I was like, what do you mean you quit? He's like, yeah, I was in the middle of mixing this record. I just quit. I gave him their money back and said, I'm just done. I'm just done doing it. I'm selling all my stuff. The only thing I'm keeping are like my instruments and some really old vintage gear things that I can pass on to my sons. But other than that, I'm done. I was like, whoa. Like,
that's crazy.
Like, but at the same time, I told him this too. I was like, you know what though? Like, you reached the top. You climbed Mount Everest in the music industry. You've won multiple Grammys. Like, you can't get bigger than that. Like, you've won. You got the Holy Grail. So it's never easy to quit what you love like that. But when to me, it's like when what you love causes you more stress, and it's because, like I said, music's supposed to be fun. If you don't want to open up a session to work on it, there's something wrong, you know?
Yeah.
You can only, there's only so many hours you can spend by yourself in a dark room, tweaking sounds and putting your heart into something, and then no one hears it, or they don't pay you for it, and you're just like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
It just seems to me that your emotional incentive is just burnt.
It really is. Like, like the thought of working on something for someone else's dream honestly makes me feel sick to my stomach. I'm like, I'm so done.
I'm the same way.
I reach my breaking point with that bull crap.
Like, man, I what did it for me was an individual that we both know, but I'm not going to name him. He, I think I sent you the text, actually. But anyway, he had this gig lined up, and ultimately it fell through, and he didn't bother to tell me.
That's cool. And
I found out through some other way. I forget how I found out, but I texted him, and I was like, hey, oh yeah, okay, so this is what happened. I'm trying to remember, and I have a terrible memory, so please forgive me. So he texts me, and he says, hey, I got this gig lined up. It's a weekend gig thing. It's with this country artist, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool, man, that sounds great. He sends the details. I'll let you know when we're going to start rehearsals. I was like, okay, cool. And then like a month goes by, and I haven't heard a word.
Yeah.
And so I text him and I go, hey, so any word on when those rehearsals are going to be? And he's like, yeah, the gig's off the table. We're not doing that anymore. I was like,
cool, man. Well, I'll just go fuck myself. Let me know when you,
I'm like, so were you ever going to bother to tell me? Or it's just, he's like, and he just got pissy with me. He got pissy with me. And I was like, dude,
I don't know who this is. No, I don't think you sent me the text.
Okay. Well, I'll show you that. I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah.
I'll show you that it was egregious. Like it wasn't just like, oh, sorry, man. He didn't apologize. Not once. And I was like, all right, dude, fuck this. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with this fucking stupid industry. Like that was my moment when I was like, I'm focusing on me, man. Fuck y'all.
That's so crazy.
I'm out.
It's so weird. Like, life's timing is so strange. So I've had this like kind of like awakening with like music. Like, I just want music to be fun, and I want it to be fulfilling, and I literally don't want to hear anyone's opinion about how something should sound anymore. Like, I'm so sick of tired of doing tweaks. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like I just don't think that kick hits hard enough. Okay, let me turn it up. Ooh, it's a little too loud. Okay, let me turn it down. Ooh, I liked it back where it was. I'm not doing that anymore. To me, it's like, if I like the way the kick drum sounds, guess what? It's fucking staying that way. I don't care if you can even hear the kick drum. Well, I like it.
Have you tried the whole, if you're doing it through email, if they send you an email, hey, can you turn it up in here?
Yeah,
and
sure.
You go, yeah, and you just send them the same file.
Yeah, I've done that.
And they're like, oh yeah, that sounds great, man. Good job.
Life's timing is so weird. It's like, I don't know if you believe in like the universe and all that stuff, but I don't know. I have no idea what I believe, but it's like, as soon as I started feeling these feelings, an opportunity opened up with CrossFit and an opportunity opened up with music. And I had a meeting about the CrossFit today, and I have a meeting about music on Saturday. And it's almost like, you have two paths. Which one will you choose? I'm
choose wisely.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
I got my Cloudbuster sword.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna bust in there and be like, who's gonna say it? Let's go. It's crazy. I don't know. Life's weird. And we're only getting older, and you gotta grow up. Like, I want to get married. I want to have a kid, and I want to have like be financially stable. I want to live comfortably. And you can say you want to do those things, but time is your greatest enemy, and you can want to do those things forever, but actually doing them, there is a time stamp on those things. I mean, you do have we still have a lot of time left, but we don't have as much time as we did when we were 20. When people said, you have the whole world in front of you. We did. But now the world is getting a little a little shorter, shrinking just a little bit.
Starting to close. The walls are starting to close in a little bit.
And it's like, the last thing I want to be is the guy with the ponytail who's like, yeah, dude, no, I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
Like that. There's nothing more sad.
It's important to want those things though. Not just think that, oh no, I'm this age now. Oh, I have to have children. I have to have a husband. I have to have a wife. I have to. People get stuck with that, and people make bad decisions because of that shit.
No, I'm not saying like I have to by a certain time.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying it's important for the people listening. It's like, it's like, if it ain't working out with, the things in your life, make sure the things in your life are good first before you, number one, have to have a wife or a husband.
Yeah, for sure. Like, no, I think there's a difference between
or a child
wanting or
God
feeling
forbid.
You have to. Yeah.
Too many people are having children way too early.
Yeah.
Like, you're 23 and they're like, I want to get married and have children.
No, you don't.
I'm not saying that, you shouldn't have. If you love the person you're with, you should have a kid. You've been together, you love blah, blah, blah. But, man, our frontal cortex isn't fully developed until we're at least 25.
Isn't that crazy? It's like,
by the way, the frontal cortex is the thing that your judgment, your decisions, your opinions, pretty much everything that makes you a person.
You know what's and you know what's scary? We say that people are 18, are adults when they're 18. So what can you do when you're 18? You can apply for a loan. You can get a credit card. You can join the army. You can get married. You can go to college and decide what you want to do for your whole life. And we're giving someone that power that literally their brain isn't done forming. That doesn't make any sense. I honestly feel like we should kind of, as we're living longer, I think those rules should change a little bit.
Yeah.
I think maybe you shouldn't be able to leave your parents' house, or I'm not joking, until your brain is developed. We would have a lot less people in financial just shambles. Think about it. When you're 18 years old, if someone would have allowed me to open a credit card when I was 18 years old, I would have bought so many Mesa Boogies and 7-string guitars, and I would be in so much debt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we did.
But we weren't 25 yet.
No, we weren't. Yeah, we made some terrible decisions.
Stupid.
Yeah. That's a good point. And you know what? I think though, people settled on 18 because the parents were like, we got to get this fucking kid out of my house.
I guess. That's true, yeah.
Because think about it. Let's say you're 57, and your kid just now turned 18, and for 18 fucking years, he's pulled you some good times too. There's some good times, but he egged the neighbor's house, and then he's gotten in trouble in school all the time, and he almost got that girl pregnant, and all sorts of horrible things. But you still love him. He's your kid.
He's 18. You got 7 more years, and then he can leave when he's 25. Yeah, you're right. 18. Get out.
Get out. You're on your own, man. So, I don't know.
11:59 on your 17th birthday, and get out. Thank you. Bags packed.
So I think it might be a moratorium to protect the parents,
more
than protect the child.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Did I say moratorium? Is that even the right word? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I've been listening to a lot of smart people, way smarter than I will ever be, and I'm starting to learn these words like pernicious. You know what pernicious means?
It sounds like a Persian dish.
It's not.
What does that mean, pernicious?
Pernicious means subtly worse.
That's pernicious, dude.
It's a lot more pernicious than that.
Yeah.
I heard it from... Who did I hear that from? I forget. I think it was either Steven Pinker or Jordan Peterson or something like that.
Okay, well, you can't use that word in everyday language because then you just sound like an asshole. You're not being an asshole, and the reason why people think you're an asshole, that's their problem that they think you're an asshole, but you sound like an asshole.
It's true. I just want to be smarter, Kyle.
How pernicious.
Just want to be smarter.
Like, what, are you going to be at Subway and like, yeah, get some guac on that? We ran out of guac. Well, this situation has gotten way more pernicious than it needs to be. I don't even know if I used that correctly in a sentence. They get paid $6 an hour. They don't need to listen to me say pernicious. You know?
Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. Just, I'll tell you one thing. I've really focused on responsibility in my later years and how important it is now.
To get up and start the day.
You hear like these like really conservative people, and they're just like, you need to pull yourself up from the bootstraps and blah, blah, blah.
Roll bootstraps.
When you hear it like that, all you want to do is just punch them in the face, or just rebel and listen to Nirvana or something.
Yeah, because number one, I don't wear boots, and if I did, they wouldn't have straps on them. What boots are you? Do we even have straps?
Exactly. Let's pick a different terminology.
Yeah, where are you
please.
getting these boots with straps?
How about you tie your strings on your shoes?
Yeah.
Laces, not strings. Some are strings.
Slip on your Crocs. 1 foot at a time.
You're not wearing your Crocs today.
I'm not today. I failed you. I'm so sorry.
failed.
You're not wearing yours either.
Well, I'm in my house. I can walk barefoot if I want.
That's true. Well, especially with these new hardwood floors.
But no, I'm like, I see more and more people just not taking responsibility for what they're doing in their life. And I'm like, they're blaming the world on everything, or people are like, gosh, you know what my boss did? He did this and I did that. Well, did you come in late?
Well, yeah.
Yeah? Oh.
Nice. Okay.
How often do you come in late? Oh, not often. Only like 3 times a week.
Okay, well, that's 3 out of 5. That's more than half.
I'm like, dude, get your fucking shit together. Stop blaming everyone else for your fucking problems.
Which
is a fucking, I can't believe I'm saying that. Because I when I was younger, I would be like, yeah, man, I was so much like a lot hippier. I was a lot more of a hippie.
Yeah.
I was like, man, just let it go, man. Don't let the man get you down. And now I am the man.
You are the man.
I am the man.
You honestly couldn't be more of the man. You're a white, heterosexual male.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll try not to be the next time.
You're public enemy number 1.
I'll try not to be next time. I really, I'm just, like, I was actually watching. This was another like conversation I heard between 2 smart people, and it was with Jordan Peterson and someone else. I've been mentioning Jordan Peterson a lot, but I just gotta say, the dude's fascinating. I love hearing him talk.
Who's Jordan Peterson?
He's a professor of psychology in Toronto, and he's come under fire for controversial opinions he's had in the last couple years. Well, what happened was in Canada, good old Canada, they were going to pass a bill basically punishing people who didn't use people's preferred gender pronouns. And these pronouns are pretty much infinite. On Facebook, there's like 70 of them.
Yeah.
And, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. Jordan Peterson posted this video and saying, I don't know if I'm breaking the law, but I'm not going to use these gender pronouns, even if it's the law. And people went crazy.
Of course.
So people started calling him transphobic, and stuff like that. And what he's really saying, he's like, he has no problem with calling people whatever pronoun they want, but it's when you start asking the government to start dictating speech, that's a path that we shouldn't go down.
Yeah.
And he cites socialism in the early 20th century. He's like, look, man, we can't do this. And anyway, so that's basically what he said. And so I came for the controversy, and I was like, what is this guy? He was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and I was fascinated by how he talked. And then I started watching his lectures, and his lectures are nothing to do with any of that. His lectures are about psychology and meaning in life and stuff like that. And I was just fascinated by hearing him talk. He has a really interesting take on people who do mass killings and mass shooters. And he does a really good job of just making it all make sense. But he's one of those people that he's like, it's from what he's like incredibly intelligent. So I'm probably butchering this, but he kind of warns people that the people who do these horrible, horrific things aren't just mentally ill. It's not just a write-off, okay, they're just sick, and then you put them in this box over here. It's like you have to realize that these are human beings that got stuck in the downward spiral of hate, and it only starts with a spark, and then it just continues to go and it continues to go.
Yeah, and where was the people in their life on that path that didn't like step in and try to intervene or do anything about it.
So, but yeah, exactly. But here's the thing: it's like once a person gets to a certain point, even if you try to help, it's too late.
They made up their mind. Like me right now. Like I've made up my mind about music. Imagine if I made up. What if I have the same feelings about? I was upset that people were alive.
Yeah. And
I wanted to change that.
Like there was this one where he was reading from the Columbine shooter's diary. And it was really creepy. Yeah. It was really creepy this kid thought he thought he was perfection and that everyone else was just cannon fodder. Like he was just I want to kill these people. I love the Nazis. All this sort of shit that was just like it's a really fascinating talk. Like it was just anyway. What did I get on talk? Talking about responsibility. He's really into his book 12 Rules for Life, which I've almost finished.
Texted me.
Yeah, and it's a really good book. It's really fascinating. And one of his things is responsibility and the way he articulates the importance of having responsibility for your life. It's not the whole pull yourself up from the bootstraps argument. It's like if you don't take responsibility for things that you do in your life or the things that happen to you, the opposite thing to do is way worse and it will put you in a downward spiral that you won't be able to come back out of. And it's true. It's like, okay, so let's say your wife cheated on you. That sucks. That really sucks. And so you can continue to blame her and hate her and do all that stuff and say it's her fault, and then you just continue to hate this person, this human being that did this terrible thing to you. Yeah. Or you can man up and you can say, I'm not going to let this rule my life.
Yeah. It's over and done with. There's nothing you can do. Why focus on things that you can't change?
Right. And that sort of thing. And it's like, he made it, so he was having this conversation with this other person, and one of his things is like clean your room. And it's sort of comical, but it kind of makes sense. It's like, I think it's a rule. It says set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. And what it means is like, clean your room. Yeah. It's like, how am I supposed to take you seriously if you're telling me how to change my life and you live in filth?
Well, and there's a lot to be said, like having a ritual like that where you wake up. Like, there's a difference between people that make their bed every day and people that don't. Usually, more times than not, people that wake up and make their bed every day, it seems like a futile activity because you're going to come home and mess it up again. But those people are used to doing things that they don't necessarily want to do, but they do them anyways. And there's been direct correlations to people that wake up and make their bed to success because they're used to pushing forward and just like, okay, nobody wants to make their actually No one wants to clean, but if you do it,
you're actually using your brain to keep things tidy. You're organizing things, you're making sure everything looks clean, and that has a lot more effect on your brain than you think it does. Than just waking up and walking out the door.
Like, have you ever gone? I'm sure you have. If you've ever gone on a vacation and you come home from a vacation to a messy room,
oh, it's the worst.
It honestly, like, because your home is supposed to be your safe space and you've come home to your safe space and it's in shambles, it mentally does something to you. Yeah. Whereas if you come home to a clean room, you're like, fresh start, I'm here.
And like his point is, again, I'm trying to say this. So he's having this conversation with this gentleman and he's bringing up that one rule about clean your room and all that stuff. And this guy objected to that. And he was like, well, what about climate change? That's not something, he's just said like, that's a thing that is important in the world and we need to fix it. And the only way to do that is to, do these things and protest the government and go out and do things. And it has nothing to do with your room. And he said, well, climate change is a thing, but there is stuff that you personally can do about it. Yeah. And you can change things in your own space, and you should do that first before you go and tell the government to start doing what to do. Because, and he also brought up, it was brilliant how he did this. And he said, well, that 19-year-old kid in like Sweden or whatever, he said he noticed that the oceans were polluted with water bottles and they were all floating at a certain level. And so what he did is that he invented this machine that will basically clean out 50% of all the water bottles and pollution in that certain level. Right? It skims the surface, and it's on its way to being fixed. That 19-year-old kid took responsibility and actually did something with it. He said, I know what to do. I'm going to do this. Because the government ain't going to fucking do it, so I'm going to do it. And he did it.
He probably cleans his room.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, you can do something about it. You know, it's like, I don't know. I appreciate that kind of thinking. I was like, wow, it's like, of course, I don't know. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out and protest, but I'm just like,
well, yeah, go ahead and protest, but make sure you're also taking the necessary steps in your life to make an impact too. You're not just out there screaming with a sign that you drew with a Sharpie.
Well, I don't, I see, here's the thing. I totally agree with them. I think that you shouldn't be discriminated against for who you are. And I think if someone is purposely doing that, that's an asshole. That's a dickhead. And he should not be your friend, and you should have nothing to do with that person. At the same time, I don't think the government should have any business in dictating how we speak to each other.
No, that is super. I saw another scary thing today too. Speaking of which, in Illinois, there's a town in Illinois that passed a bill, or they're trying to pass a bill that if you own an assault rifle, an automatic rifle, and you don't turn it in by, I think they're giving it to like the 13th of April, you'll be charged $1,000 a day.
Whoa,
that's pretty scary because it's like, okay, I can understand.
Is it a fully automatic or semi?
An automatic rifle, so that can be fully or semi.
Wait, even a semi too?
Yeah, so like an AR-15. That's not a fully automatic rifle. Or a
handgun.
Yeah, handguns are
semi. Oh, but you said rifle.
Yeah.
Okay, but see, here's the issue with all that stuff. And again, this is coming from a pretty progressive person. Okay, yeah. I totally am on board with the whole gun, making guns harder to get.
You shouldn't be able to just like roll in and get like freaking 50,000 rounds of ammo.
Right. We should make it just as hard, if not harder, than getting a driver's license. Okay. There you go. I said it. There we go. With that said, of course, you have to understand what a semi-automatic weapon is. A semi-automatic weapon is a handgun, a 6-shooter revolver. That's because all a semi-automatic weapon is you shoot once, another round is loaded in the chamber automatically. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah. One round only.
The only thing that is not semi-automatic is a bolt-action rifle, where you have to literally pull it back to
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's another thing that a lot of people don't know. Most killings in the United States with guns are from handguns.
Well, yeah.
And not rifles.
Conceal.
All right.
That's great. Like, I understand, like, okay, all right, everyone, you can't buy an AR-15 anymore. Sorry, we're not selling automatic rifles in this county or this town anymore. Cool. But you can't tell people that have already legally obtained them that they got 10 years ago that they have to turn them over or they're getting charged $1,000 a day.
No way. Is it legislation?
I would read it.
I don't think it's passed because I cannot see. Insane. Even in the most leftist of states, you can't like. I don't even know how. That's not constitutional.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that's what's scary is like. It's not constitutional, but if you let it slip and it goes through, then it's through.
But see, here's my point. It's like a lot of people on the left who are very anti-gun, they don't want to admit that they also like guns.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know,
Who
it's like
to blow things up.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like they want to have protection for their home because criminals have guns.
Exactly.
It's like, what are you going to do? Bat them to death? Like, stop. Yeah, I don't think you should. You should be able to have a gun to protect your family. And yes, statistically, that would mean that you are more likely to shoot yourself or a member of your family. I totally get that. But look, man, that's a person's choice. It's a constitutional right. That's kind of how it goes, and that's just kind of how it is. And I totally get the emotional outrage of all this because fuck, man, I don't want to see kids getting shot at schools. I don't want that to happen at all.
No one does.
But, and I think what it is, too, is that we don't talk about the mental health issue of it because it's so hard. It's such a harder thing to do to get in the mind of, okay, what makes a person want to kill a whole bunch of people? Oh, that question's too hard. Let's get after the guns. Let's get that. That's an easier conversation, which it's not, obviously, because we've been having this conversation for like how many decades now, and nothing has happened. So how about we look towards, maybe we can all agree, conservatives and liberals and everyone else in between. We can go, how about we focus on the things that we actually agree on? Number one, I've seen this, gun restraining orders. You ever heard of gun restraining order? Mm-hmm. Gun restraining order means members of your family or your friends or people close to you can go to a judge and go, hey, homeboy went crazy and my friend, he does not need to have guns.
Yeah.
And I liberals and conservatives can agree on that. Yeah, we can all agree. Okay, let's move forward with that.
Yeah.
Instead of having this fucking same argument that I hear all the fucking time, and I'm like, God, just fucking do something. Do something. Like,
I don't know.
Stop yelling at each other.
You're right though. It's not a gun issue. Like a gun is like this can. This can only pour soda in my mouth when I pour the soda in my mouth. A gun only goes off if I pull the trigger. Gun is not like waking up going like, who the fuck am I going to kill today? So it's like, the problem is I think it's a society problem. I think and I know I sound like a crazy old conspiracist and a crazy man, but I honestly feel like these have hurt us so much, and how we interact with people.
The phones. He's holding up the phone for those people who are listening.
We don't interact with people as much anymore, and because of that, I think we're forgetting what it's like to make a personal connection with people. Mm-hmm. And I think that, coupled with a mental illness or not being equipped with the right coping tools as a child to deal with your anger, the less you value another human being because you're not making contact with them, because you're living in these fake worlds of Instagram where everyone, or Bumble, where people are so disposable as a swipe based on how they look. Like, how more shallow could that be? Yeah, I honestly feel like we're programming ourselves to be desensitized to what the real human connection is, and actually seeing someone for who they are, and understanding that we all literally are made of the exact same atoms and cells and blood and water, and what it means to be a human life has been devalued by the things that we see in the media and how you're supposed to look. Like, a girl is literally just a shell. Like, you're supposed to be beautiful for what? For the male gaze? Like, why? That devalues. I just feel like social media and stuff like that has devalued the preciousness that it is to be a human, and the precious connections that we have as humans. And like I said, if it's coupled with someone who's sick, who also hates humans, it's gonna take them a lot less to pull that trigger than it would.
Fucking said. Yeah. Well said. I couldn't have said it any better. That's another reason why we can't have a fucking conversation about these issues too. It's like, they're this, fuck you, and no, you're fuck that. You. It's like having an argument with someone who's it's not even in the fucking room. It's like, it's like, we all just want to fucking find the worst in people all the fucking time.
Yeah,
and it's
why?
Like, you know what? Look in the mirror.
Like Michael Jackson said, yeah?
Who made you the arbiter of everything that's moral and good? Yeah. Especially if you're 20. If you're 20 years old, you don't know what it is to live. And how do you, who are you?
Yeah.
I know who I was when I was 15 or 16 or 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And no one should be listening to me. Or should have listened to me at all. My God. I shouldn't have listened to you. I shouldn't have listened to any of my friends.
But you did.
But I did. And look where it's got me. Oh, well. I could have been a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company by now.
But no.
I decided to listen to you guys and say, the band's going to make it.
And now you have a podcast.
And now I have a podcast.
That's okay.
It has 2 listeners.
That's okay. I've given up on my dreams as of recent, so it's really working out. I know.
I got really serious there for a second.
Did. We're back.
You know what? Just treat humans like humans, man. And if they have a different opinion than you, just listen to them.
Yeah.
And don't. yell at them. They just have a different worldview than yours, man.
And it's not their fault. That's how they were raised. That's their environment they grew in. You don't know what it was like to be raised in the ghetto where your mom's on crack and you've seen almost all your uncles and cousins die. Yeah, you're gonna have a little negative outlook on life. Sorry that you don't have the best jump start. Your frontal cortex is not going to be as developed because cortisol levels, they've done studies on this, like babies that are put in stress even in the womb, they have developmental issues and issues with connecting with people because of the stress they're put under. So if you're growing up in a stressful household where you've seen terrible things happen to people and you're stressed out all the time, that's going to affect how you view the world and how you react to things. Whereas like someone who was coddled and loved their whole life and had a wonderful family and got everything they needed and was not malnourished and they're going to think differently. They're going to see things, little things aren't going to bother them as much as this other person because their mind is different. People's minds are just created different through different stress levels. They've done studies of that, like people that grow up in like especially lower income housing where that thing is more common, that their frontal cortexes are not underdeveloped isn't the right word to say because people are going to take that as, well, they're stupider than us. No, it's their decision making and then your coping mechanisms are just going to be different. That's why.
And when you're closer to the bottom, it's like a magnet. You know, it's like
that's hopeless.
If you're not. I forget who said this. I think it was, again, Jordan Peterson or Brett Weinstein. They were talking about inequality and, they were how it's like, if you're on the bottom, it's really hard to get out. And it's really hard to, because worse and worse things keep happening to you. But if you start to do good, start to do better, start to do good, more good things are attracted to you. It's like this weird fucking universal law that we're all sifting through. Yeah. It's, because you open yourself up, like if let's say this episode of this podcast goes viral. Yeah. And then that's going to open up a whole new world for me. If that, if I don't fuck it up, which in all odds it will. But I'm just saying, that will create more and more opportunities and stuff. Like same thing with music. You get signed to a band and the band does really well, and then everyone starts to like you, and then you start touring with other bands that are doing really well, and that kind of just does really well. And
meanwhile, you're no different than the other band. You just had a different opportunity.
Right. Exactly. But it's like, but if you're not doing very well, then less and less people hang out with you, and then you're depressed, and then people don't hang out with you if you're depressed, and then you can't get a good job because you're depressed, and it's like, and then you're angry, and no one likes to hang out with angry people, so it's like.
But you know what's crazy? All of that is your fault.
What do you mean?
People don't ever want to hear that. Like that falling into a pit of despair, and you're angry because you're depressed, and now you're depressed because you're angry, and now you don't have friends because of that. That's all like people. No one likes to look at themselves in the mirror when really all of that is literally your fault. I think it's so funny when people say,
"Dude,
I'm offended," or like, "You made me angry." It's like you would never say this in an argument because it's like such an asshole thing to say, but it really isn't your fault that they're angry. And it's not your fault that they are offended by you. It's their fault for choosing to let what you said affect them that way. Yep. Life is literally 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it.
Dude, I am loving Will Smith right now.
When have you ever stopped?
Dude, I've always loved Will Smith, but lately he's been going on this like fucking, I don't know, Oprah-like kick. Like he's just been posting all these like really prophetic fucking things, and this kind of goes into what we were saying. I saw this on Facebook, and he says, this is from Will Smith.
Big Willie.
He said, I was having a debate with a friend of mine, and we got stuck on the difference between fault and responsibility. She kept talking about how something was somebody's fault. I said, it doesn't matter whose fault it is that something's broken if it's your responsibility to fix it. For example, it's not somebody's fault if their father was an abusive alcoholic, but it's for sure their responsibility to figure out how they're going to deal with those traumas and make a life out of it. It's not your fault that your partner cheated and ruined your marriage, but it's your responsibility to figure out how to take that pain and overcome that to build a happy life for yourself. Yeah. Fault and responsibility do not go together, and it sucks, but they don't. When something is somebody's fault, We want them to suffer and pay. We want it to be their responsibility to fix it. But that's not how it works, especially if it's your heart. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and yours alone. As long as we're pointing the finger and stuck in whose fault something is, we're jammed and trapped in victim mode where we're stuck in suffering. The road to power is taking responsibility. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and yours alone. And I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
Will Smith, drop the mic.
You know what's crazy though? If that's a universal truth, then you've also got to say to the woman who's sitting in court watching the man who like killed his daughter or her daughter,
I know.
and say,
Yeah,
well,
it's not easy.
It's my fault. I'm mad at you. That would be really hard. Be like, you took my daughter away from me, but it's my fault that I'm upset.
Yeah. I mean, not everything is, not everything is the same. Not every horrible thing that happens to somebody is treated equal. I mean, but here's the deal. It's like, if something horrible like that happens, you take your grieving, which is totally understandable, and you take that, and I know this is very easy for me to say because nothing traumatic like that has ever happened to me.
I'm trying to think of like,
but the fact of the matter is, this is the fact, because it's either you get stuck in that horrible tragedy that happened and just wither away and die.
happens.
Which happens. People do, commit suicide because horrible trauma and they just can't handle it anymore. But I don't want that to be the solution to that horrible thing, because all you're doing is just adding on to the tragedy. Mm-hmm. It's like, because no one wants to see you die too.
No. Well, depends on who you are.
If you had a hand in it, well, maybe, yeah. But that's a universal truth. It has to be, because the opposite is death. Like death. Like, you have no reason to live.
Speaking of death, it's crazy. I watched someone die the other day.
What?
Yeah.
How did you not open the podcast
because I forgot.
with that?
I was.
Was it? Hang on. Before we get, we gotta talk. Please remind me of the time you hit a guy with your car, where you actually thought you killed somebody.
I was driving in my car down this like bridge, the Jefferson Street Bridge, if you guys are familiar with East Nashville. And I was coming down the bridge. It's like 45 miles an hour. I'm obeying the speed limit, and I see this car is parked it's like stopped in front of me, and all the other traffic is like zooming by. I'm in the middle. It's in the middle lane. There's a lane to my right and there's a lane to my left. So I put on the brakes. So I now have slowed down to like 35 miles an hour. And I put my blinker on to the left, and I get over to pass this car. And so, of course, you speed up to pass the car. And as soon as the nose of my car passed this car, I hit a person. Not a car, an actual person. He tore my mirror off, dented the roof of my car with his head. I had to have the side of my passenger side front door replaced. That's how bad it was dented. And so I slammed on the brakes and went skidding, and the girl that I was with at the time, I looked over and I said, I just killed somebody. Like that. Like stones. And I wasn't laughing. I was like, I just killed somebody. So I pulled over, and the minute I opened the car, there was this lady. She's like, you ain't shit! You ain't shit! Like that. And I was like, what is going on? I thought she was yelling at me. And then I see the guy get up, and he is wasted. Like, oh, somebody. Ah! He sits down. So what had happened is the lady that was saying, you ain't shit, was actually being beat up by the guy I hit with a car. So before I was pulling up to the scene, driving, minding my own business, he was punching her, beating her up on the side of the road, drunk. Another bystander, a man, saw him beating her up, came to her aid and was fighting him. The fight went out into the street. That's why the car was stopped. And then little old me is getting around and smashes the guy. So the cops show up, find out he's got a warrant out for his arrest. The drunk guy that I hit with the car. They arrest him and put him in the backseat of a car. That is this guy's worst day. He got drunk, hit his woman, got beat up, and then hit by a car and went to jail. But I still had to pay my deductible to get my friggin' car fixed because he didn't have any money or insurance. I was so pissed. Could have been worse, though.
That is seriously...
I could have killed him.
You could have killed him, which would have fucked you up.
But that wouldn't have been my fault.
That wouldn't have. See? There you go.
It wouldn't have been my fault. That would have been his...
It was his responsibility. Well, yeah, I mean...
It's his responsibility to not get drunk and beat a woman up and fight in the middle of the street.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's your responsibility to know that.
Yeah.
So you hit a man with your car, and now you actually saw someone die.
Yeah, that was crazy. Maybe that's why I've been having this, like internal crisis. Because life is so fragile, and it's like you really don't have time to waste.
What the fuck happened?
I was coaching the morning CrossFit classes on Tuesday. It was the last class. It was about 7:45 in the morning. And across the street from the gym, there's an Ace Hardware store that people frequent. And I saw a cop car pull up, and there was a red pickup truck that had both its doors wide open. And I saw this cop talking to this guy, and he was kind of like frantically talking, and they brought him over and some more cops pulled up, and they brought him over to the car where looked like they were questioning him. I was like, oh, someone's in trouble. I thought he was going to get arrested. And then all of a sudden I see these EMTs get out of this ambulance, and they run over to the other side of the vehicle. And I walk over to see what the heck is going on. And they're giving this guy CPR who's laying on the ground.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh wow. And then I see him bring out the defibrillators, and they're doing the clear thing, and I was like, whoa. And then some more members of the gym came over. I was like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. I think this guy they're really trying to resuscitate him. And then a couple minutes later, the EMTs just stood up, zipped up their stuff, put the gurney back in the ambulance, brought out a sheet, put it over him, and just drove off. I was like, this guy just died.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I looked on the news. I tried to find what it was. I don't know if it was like a heart attack or a drug overdose, because they searched the car, and after they searched the car, they took the guy that they were questioning, they handcuffed him and put him in the back of a car. So
whoa,
I don't know what it could be. Maybe they got in a fight and he like punched him so hard he hit his head on the curb. I have no idea. I didn't see what happened. I just saw them trying to resuscitate this guy on the ground. That was crazy.
Whew.
I've seen a lot of dead bodies in my life. Isn't that weird?
That was not your first one? What other dead body have you seen?
That was my fourth.
Oh my God. Wait, family members?
No.
Oh. What? What are you doing?
Every time I've been to Mexico, I've seen a dead body.
Oh.
Been to Mexico twice.
Wow. What part of Mexico?
Cancun.
In Cancun, you saw a dead body?
It was in one of them, and then the second one was for Aaron's wedding.
Wait, what?
We all saw it. We told you that.
Did you?
It was the second day we were there. We decided, because all the resorts share a beach, so we decided to walk along the beach to go from resort to resort, kind of see what all the different resorts look like. And Jordan was a little far ahead of us, and he turned around. He's like, "Go back. You don't just turn around, everyone. I promise." And we're like, "What? What's going on?" And they had they haven't even put a sheet over him yet. They had just pulled him out of the water. A guy drowned.
Oh my God.
Like, his fiance was crying, and the cops were trying to console him.
Oh my God.
And he was just laying there on the beach, just blue. And there's little kids running past him, playing in the water, like have no idea that he's dead. And I was just like,
Jesus. Fuck, man.
We were staying at an all-inclusive resort, though, so all the drinks were included. Like, everything's free. All the food, drinks. Yeah. So we turned around, we all got in the pool, and the entire wedding party got so drunk. Like, that's how we dealt with it. We all were just like, tequila for everybody, let's go.
Oh my God.
It was not
that's the only way you could deal with it.
The other one was an accident. This guy's head was like smashing a melon.
Ew. God, man.
Yeah, I know. And then now this guy, and then my cousin's a mortician, so that was like the only one that I saw that was actually like nice.
Wow. If
a dead body can be nice. Like, it was an old woman who had passed, and she was going to be having a funeral. The other two, I have no idea. Yeah. It's like death follows me or something.
Let's stop this podcast now before something terrible happens to someone you... Yeah.
It's been a crazy week.
It's been a crazy week. And why is it every time that you show up on the podcast that some terrible tragedy happens and we have to talk about it?
You, right? Last time I was here was the Vegas shooting.
Yeah. No, you did one with we did actually that one we weren't talking about a tragedy, that one. It was no, the one you did with Isaiah. That was the Las Vegas shooting. One.
And then
did one with
Marcus?
No, not Mark. Well, we did record with Marcus, but he said he couldn't do it. Who else was it? I forget.
I've been out here.
Christian. It was Christian.
Yes.
Sorry, Christian. I've done many podcasts.
Yeah.
It's kind of blending in together.
I like that
I love
one.
you. I love you, brother.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. That was fun. Well, let's end this podcast on a positive note instead of talking about death.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
murder.
what am I supposed to not mention that I saw someone die this week on your podcast?
I'm telling you should have opened with that.
Hi guys, we're here. Well, obviously my brain's trying to push it out of the storage bin because I don't want to think about it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just. Well, let's.
I'm going to Thailand.
You're going to Thailand.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, what are you doing? What's going on in Thailand? Where did you come from? Like, you just went on a trip.
Oh,
Where'd
I
you
was
go?
going to say America, my mother's womb. You know where I came from? What are you talking about? And where did you come from?
You just came. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
I just got back from Boston.
Oh yeah, you went to Boston.
Boston. You ever been there?
Yes, I have. Actually, you know what's crazy? The election night, 2016, I was on tour with Icon for Hire
In Boston. Where'd you play? Do you remember?
I can't remember. It was like a venue / like Thai restaurant or something. It was very interesting, but it was fun. It was a fun show. But the election night was that night, and everyone was talking about it. And I think I saw a dude cry that night. Like, I remember standing in the elevator, and this dude, this very cleaned up, suited dude. There must have been a convention in town or something. And he comes in the elevator with me and another someone else from the group. And he looks at us and he goes, "It's fucking crazy, right?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And then that was it. That was the only 2 words that he said to me. I was like,
anyways. Well, I'm going to go get some chowder.
I think he said, I think he said something else in support of Trump. And I was like, all right, here we go.
There it is. And it's starting.
And it's starting. I was like,
Yeah, Boston was cool.
yeah. So anyway, sorry, yeah. So what'd you do in Boston?
We just went because I've never been. I just wanted to see what Boston was like.
Yeah?
Yeah. That was it. Like, we just went for 4 days and had no plans. We just, every day we woke up and we're like, well, let's go eat somewhere. And then that turned into, well, what's over here? And then that turned into, well, what's over here?
Yeah, me and Ash are planning a vacation, and maybe in September it's looking like the best time. So we're trying to figure out a place to go.
Where are you going to go?
We're thinking about Yellowstone.
Oh, that's a nice vacation.
Yeah.
Careful, there's like bears and stuff there.
Well, we're not going to go in the fucking forest.
Oh, well, I don't know what you're doing.
We're not going to go
You're the
hiking.
one who's like trying to buy a farm. I don't know what you're doing with your life anymore.
Well, okay, yeah, we are getting a farm, but we are not those people who like to go hiking, okay? We like to be very... just enough nature to be like, okay, there's nature, but not too much nature.
Are you going to grow marijuana on your farm?
If it's legal.
Will you do it?
I mean, I don't know.
You could start your own like CBD oil company. Call it Word to the Wise.
Word to the wise. Yeah?
Or Wise Up.
Maybe I just sell heroin instead. And I can get better. I can get like more money.
But you're not
that
helping
way.
anyone.
No, but I'll get more money.
Nah, exactly. See, there we go.
Anyway. So yeah, I just went to Boston. So you're going to Thailand.
Yeah, in June.
What are you doing? You just gonna go? Just
My dad was going, and I was like, I'll go, I think. And he's like, cool, let's go to Thailand. And I was like, all right. It's so cheap. Because
Really?
our dollar goes so far over there.
Yeah. But the plane ride is pretty expensive though, right?
Put it this way. For 9 days, all your hotels and flights is $2,000 a person.
Wow.
That's not bad.
That's not.
And you're
all.
spending about 2 to 3 days in a different city. So like Bangkok and Hang Shui, whatever. I have no idea. But you just you stay a couple days and you stay in these hotels, and they're nice hotels, and then you get on a plane and you fly to another part of it. And then you stay in this.
Sounds like fun.
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe that movie Hostel fucked it up for me.
yeah.
But I'm kind of worried about going to anywhere else other than the United States.
Well, you just got to go places where everyone's smaller than you.
Canada. I go to Canada. I don't know why Canada seems...
They're so nice.
They're so
over there,
nice. Yeah, I'd love to go to Canada.
And you can go to some places in Canada where it feels like another country because they only speak French.
Yeah. There's like half of Canada speaks
Yeah.
French. I'm like, all right, let's go there.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it. I think we did like an hour and a half.
Good. Maybe I'll see a dead body in Thailand.
Oh God. Oh God. I mean, yeah. Tell me about your dead body experiences.
Bring it
next
back.
time. Bringing it back.
All right.
Well, that's Kyle Lampi for you, everybody.
This podcast is not coming out, is it?